And welcome back to the Get Louder podcast. I'm Brandon Lewis.
Yeah, I'm Jeremiah.
And today we have two very special guests in the house. We have Camelia and Carmel with Imani Law. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for
Welcome,
having
guys.
us.
Nice to finally meet you guys in
Thanks
person.
for having us.
So happy to have you.
Sorry.
There it is.
We're
You
excited
guys-
to be here.
Yeah, you guys, jumped over hurdles, came through tsunamis just to get down here. We appreciate it.
We really did the most.
For sure. So welcome. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. You guys are sisters, right? And you practice law together. Him and I think that's the coolest thing. We consider ourselves brothers, so
Thanks, yeah.
So tell us, take us back a little bit. Tell us how you guys both came to the conclusion to start a business together. Maybe let's take us to like law school, kind of where you guys went and how this came about.
Yeah, well, we went to law school together, same law school, which is also very rare because what are the chances that two siblings go to the same law school at the same time? So yeah, we graduated together. It was nice because I had like a permanent study buddy.
Nice.
And yeah, we graduated law school, and then we obviously took different jobs when we graduated. And decided after working for law firms in litigation defense that, you know what, let's quit. I mean, there's a lot more to this, but long story short, we were like, and I think it was, during the pandemic, people, I think, like really thought about what they wanted to do. It was like it was like a moment of reflection, I think, for everyone. So during 2020, it was kind of brewing in our minds of like, do we want to do this forever, work for someone and, be in litigation?
And I also, at that point, we've had a couple years of experience, so we were able to figure out what we liked about the job and what we didn't like. So then we thought, okay, if we can tailor and have our own law firm, but tailor it to what we do enjoy doing, I think that's going to make us a lot happier than waking up every single day and going to work and being like, you know what, I don't enjoy this.
So what were you guys doing that you didn't enjoy?
It was litigation.
Yeah.
A lot of litigation, which a lot of people love, but for us, it was really, it's just it's very adversarial.
It's very argumentative. And for us, we're not argumentative people. I mean, obviously, we're always going to advocate for our client, but we're very happy people. We love to laugh. We love to make things like joyous. And so when you come to work every single day and opposing counsel is calling you and they just start, yelling at you, or you're in a deposition, it was all very argumentative and adversarial. And we're like, we don't enjoy this, but there are other parts of law that don't have to be this way. So why not just do something that we feel more at ease with, or like that we enjoy more? Aligned, yeah.
So how'd you guys get to Trademark? Going from litigation to Trademark, it doesn't seem streamlined.
No.
Well, when we were in litigation, we kind of saw everything that could happen when you didn't have a contract, or like things that would just occur in the real world. And we thought, okay, let's be on the preventative side of it. And so we had to, and with law, when you take the bar exam, so it's like you're getting tested on everything. So at that point, you can go into any field you want. So we trained to do trademarks when we were still at our law firm, and we took a course on how to do this, how to market, because in law school you don't learn how to market. You don't know how to run your own business. They just don't teach you that. So we took courses on how to do all those things, and that's how we were able to pivot successfully. Otherwise, I don't think we could have done it completely on our own. You always have to have like a mentor.
And also, when at the last firm that we worked at, we saw people who did transactional work, so not litigation, and we just looked at their lifestyle and how they had to deal with different things, and we thought, okay, this is definitely a lot more aligned.
Like,
so
this person's always happy. This person's
yeah,
always
exactly,
pissed.
really. So we thought we for sure are going to do something transactional. So that was, I think, that's what started like brewing. With trademarks.
So how did it get started? You decided to make the jump from litigation to starting your own firm.
Yeah.
Was it a clean cut transition? Was it a slow transition? What did your colleagues think about it when you let them know?
Yeah, I mean, like Carmel said, we had the idea brewing for a while, but I think anyone who knows about starting a business, you don't just wake up one day and say, okay, we're going to do it. So it was the beginning of the year that we toyed with the idea, but there was just the safety net we had with working at the law firm. So we kind of put it to the side, or maybe thought, okay, we're going to do it, but then doubted ourselves a little bit. So we gave ourselves like a timeline. And I remember telling Carmel, okay, by the end of June,
of 2021,
we're going to quit. this is it. This is going to be the last month. So once we put that deadline, it was a lot easier. And I remember Carmel called, it was like June 18th, and she's like, I was working from home.
Well, we were working at the same law firm at this time.
Yeah.
So
Right.
we ended up at the same law firm. And I called her and I was like, I think today's the day that we should just quit.
She actually didn't even say all that. She just said, come in the office, today's the day. And I said, say less. I drove to the office, and then I came into her office, and we were just talking. We're like, how do we tell our boss? Like, we're quitting. So we kind of like,
We
thought about
rehearsed.
how to.
We
Yeah, we
rehearsed.
rehearsed our lines.
Of course.
Because we were like, it's
Do you
scary.
remember it? Do you remember what you
It's
said?
scary.
Yeah, no, we don't have the script anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, our boss was really nice about it. We
Yeah.
were just like, we want to do what you did.
Yeah.
For sure.
And how you have your own firm, we want to
Yeah.
do the same. And he was really supportive.
Everyone
thankfully.
was really supportive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were lucky in that regard.
But it's scary.
Oh,
it was
yeah,
scary.
but,
yeah.
We were so scared.
Well, you're betting on yourself. You're really taking a chance
Yeah.
that you're gonna succeed, and the risk is you make no money. And that can be
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we thought about that too. We were like, okay, what's the worst case scenario? And it was like, yeah, we don't make money, or like we lose money. And we were like, well, we don't have kids. So that helped.
Yeah.
That no one's like relying on us. And so we were like, okay, if there's a time that we ever would take a risk, it would
It's
be
now.
now. Because we don't really have a lot of responsibilities. We don't have our own family, so.
And then if all else fails, you could just work for another law firm if you had to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the backup plan. We were like, that's the worst thing that could happen. So let's
sure.
just try.
So how did you get your first client?
Oh, that's a good question.
Our first client was word of mouth. So
Uh-huh.
we started advertising on social media, and the first thing we did was
Nice.
we told our family and friends, hey guys, we started our own law firm. So our first couple of clients were all referrals. It was like family friends who said, oh, I referred so-and-so to you.
Like people we knew.
Right.
It was like
Yeah.
people within our community. So that's, I think, how a lot of people actually get started. Is like
Definitely.
you have to know
Yeah.
someone, because at this point you don't have like client reviews. Nobody knows who you are. Why would they
Yeah.
trust you? Why would they pay you for a consult?
Right.
And so we, started off slowly that way. And then again, you just have to start.
Right. So was the first client Trademark, or was it like a LLC, or like what was the actual
Actually,
service?
I think it was a contract.
It was a contract.
Contract?
It was a contract. So it
Can
was
you
a
write
contract.
this contract for? You're a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
You can do
Yeah,
this.
yeah. And we could. We had so much experience with contracts, so
Yeah.
it was no problem for us to do it. So
Oh, that's
that was
cool.
our first client.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
find that in the beginning you were taking kind of every kind of little job that came across that you felt like you could do, or was it focused? Were you trying to tell people, oh, we do these couple of things?
It
But-
was focused.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
focused because we weren't like trying to do it. We weren't trying to just take on anything. And I know a lot of people do that, but
Yeah.
we were like, no, we need to do we're just do contracts, trademarks, business formation, and anything that kind of goes in that world.
Yeah.
And we weren't just trying to take on anything just for the sake of like making money
Got you.
on someone. Yeah.
So you had mentioned social media. So like from the beginning, you guys were like, we need to get on social media and we need to promote ourselves here. Like what kind of motivated that?
Well, we got on social media. Well, when I say social media, like TikTok, we got on pretty late.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
Instagram,
But,
well,
yeah.
we're
Instagram,
both
though, we
on
did.
social media personally
Right.
anyways. So for us to transition to do an Instagram page for our business was easy.
This is before Reels existed.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So 2021, it was like just you post like
Canva.
a Canva picture.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
we were like, oh, we know how to do. I mean, we've had Instagram for so many years. We know how to post a picture.
And you didn't have to be vulnerable because you just put a Canva template up and you're just like, oh, do X, Y, and Z.
and you could
whereas-
kind of like hide behind your screen.
Yeah.
Back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
in
Definitely.
2021, you could just like post whatever.
Right.
And it was fine. But then slowly now it became like TikTok was a thing, and then
Video,
Reels, and
yeah.
then
But
video.
we were late. We were definitely late to the video and TikTok.
Yeah.
We started when 2022.
Mid 2022. I think it was like July 2022. So
Mm-hmm.
it's only been a year and a half.
Did you see a change once you started making video? Did you see anything shift?
Oh, yeah.
drastically. Yeah.
Drastically.
Once we got on TikTok, things completely changed.
What
and
changed?
actually, yeah, well, 95% of our clients now come from TikTok.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because we have a questionnaire when you book a call with us, we say, how did you hear about us? And almost every single person says TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
That's
And-
amazing.
yeah,
To know that, like,
it's crazy.
It's cool to see, like, if I do this thing, I get X result. You know,
Yeah.
and especially through something like social media.
Yeah.
yeah,
know.
it's been really, and it's also the other thing about TikTok is it's fun.
Yeah.
You know, you get to follow trends, you get to have You get to show your personality. So it was also a very nice creative outlet. So it's not just like, oh, we have to do this. It's like, okay, well, I'm enjoying doing this aspect of the job. So
I get to do this.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, no, it's also like, I think things are also really changing too. Before it's like you just hired who you knew, and now you're like, well, I want to know who I'm hiring. Now I want, this person has my values. This person, it's like you're not, no, people are not hiring the best of the best. They're just like, wait, who has my beliefs?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, who is like me? And then so they'll just like find them on social media and then hire that person. So personality and showing who you are, which is kind of like, you have to be vulnerable when you're on screen. And so that takes a while to get used to, right?
Because you can't find that out by clicking a Google link.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
a link that pops up on top that someone paid $250 for me to click.
Yeah, and that was
You
like
know, it's
that's
like-
like their traditional like old
Way of
school way,
doing
and
it.
things
Right.
are now changing to where you're like, well, oh, this person seems really cool. Like I can work with this person.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's kind of because a lot of people do the same thing. So you as the consumer have the choice now. Who do you want to work with? So there's lots of options now.
Exactly. So like in a town full of 1,000 attorneys, how do you stand out?
Yeah.
And it comes down to your personality.
Yeah.
If everyone's doing the same thing, now it's like, well, who do I like more? You know,
Yeah.
who's being vulnerable now?
Yeah.
Who can I relate to?
Well, the other thing too is our clients are all business owners, and as you guys know, business owners are also very different. So now it's really cool because we have a certain type of personality, so we attract certain types of clients. But there's so many trademark attorneys or lawyers who do the same thing as us who have distinct personalities in their own way. So a business owner who is who has that personality type can go to them. So it's really cool because we're all thriving. We're just attracting different clients who are more like us.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Man, that's great that you guys picked up on. Dude, people are sleeping on TikTok. They think it's for kids, and it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Not
Like,
anymore.
my dad has TikTok.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like a Google search engine now.
Right.
You know, like people just search what they need on TikTok and then they find it. Yeah, it's been great. I think when we got on TikTok, that's when our business really picked up.
Yeah.
You know, I wish Instagram had the search engine TikTok has.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
Instagram can figure out that search
Algorithm.
engine aspect of it, I think it would be better. But
Yeah, I
100%,
agree.
100%.
I think the algorithm is just amazing. Like you think about something and it'll show up. It is that powerful. I'm like, I want to know whatever they did.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to do this.
Oh, they're listening though.
They're listening.
They're
Yeah.
for sure listening.
Yeah.
'Cause
It's
you talk about
something.
something, you pull it up, there's an ad.
yeah.
and also what's cool about TikTok is it shows videos from your city. So like
okay.
so it pushes creators from your city. So if someone's like, if they just thought it, they thought about Trademark, they'll start getting pushed out your videos.
Locally
Yeah.
based.
Local
Yeah.
videos,
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
great.
It-
Yeah,
it's not
great.
so good if you're like in another country though. Like it doesn't get pushed out to like where you want it to get pushed out.
Yeah. No,
sure.
but it's yeah. If there's one advice that I would give to anyone who's starting a business is to just get on social media and just choose one that works best for you. But we really love TikTok out of all
Yeah.
of them.
So do you use your Instagram more for like just branding? Because I know it's a little bit more static on your Instagram.
Yeah.
Very branded. Very it looks really good. You know what I mean? It's very consistent. And then your TikTok, that's where you really have your content.
Yeah, we're a little bit more unhinged on TikTok.
There you go.
But we're trying to utilize more of our social media platforms now. So before, I think we have like 90% of our TikToks don't even make it to Instagram or any other social platform, but we're trying to be better at saying, okay, well, the content's already created.
Right.
Why not just
Repurpose.
repurpose it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what's cool about Instagram as well is you can post a reel without posting it to your feed. So you can still have that clean grid,
Oh, okay.
and all your videos would just go on the reels page.
Okay.
Where it doesn't
yeah, I
need to
think-
be
yeah, I
as-
can do that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so it
yeah,
stays
yeah.
presentable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
the
that's a
main
good
page.
tip.
It's
Right.
funny how like Instagram is just like that's its thing to be presentable,
Right.
you know? Like that's like
It's a new portfolio.
it's it's
Yeah.
like
It is.
but TikTok, we love TikTok because you can just like take out your phone and just like record while you're walking. It's very relaxed. You
Yeah.
don't have to think about it too much.
So what did you guys do to get comfortable with being able to do that? Like, just take your phone out. I have an idea. Boom, I'm going to shoot this. Because I feel like a lot of attorneys are really reluctant to do that, or they're scared. They're wondering how they're going to feel. Like, what do you think? What do you think brought you guys to be that comfortable and confident?
I think it's something that it's like a muscle that you continuously have to practice, because there are times even now where sometimes I don't feel like you don't know. I don't know, you get in your head a little bit, but I think there was this idea of like, okay, if you want to advance, like this is something that you should be doing. It felt like that was the right trajectory to be on social media. So you kind of have to put it aside a little bit and just try and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Absolutely.
that I always say like the first video you ever create is gonna be like really cringe, you know? When I look back at the videos I made, I'm like, oh my God, I would never do that now, or like I would never make a video like that now. But that's how you know, you just have to get started, and it's always gonna like be bad in the beginning, but then it gets better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What was your guys' best performing video?
Our best performing videos, I think, are about like how to pay yourself,
from your LLC,
or like about S Corps. A lot of
Yeah.
people love the S Corp stuff, and that's actually we get our content ideas from people's responses. Like people have questions, and we're like, oh, everyone's asking this question, so maybe we should do a video on this, because
Genius.
so it's like really nice too, because you get feedback from your followers.
Well, let me ask, since we're talking about corps right now, what about C Corps? What are the benefits of having a C Corp and then having an S Corp and then paying your S Corp and then paying yourself?
There's a lot of misinformation online, and I think that's why the S Corp stuff does well, because our number one question we get from clients is whether they should have an LLC or an S Corp. But a lot of people don't know that an S Corp is not a business entity type, it's a tax structure. So with questions like that, we always explain to people even though it has the word corp in it, there's a difference between a business entity and a tax structure. And I think that's why those videos do well, because these questions are A, so common, but B, if you Google it, there's a ton of misinformation on it.
Interesting.
Or just maybe not even misinformation, it's just confusing. Like it sounds confusing. So we always tell our clients, like, you can still be an LLC, but be taxed as an S Corp. When you form a corporation, and if you don't want to be an LLC, let's say you want a corporation, then by default, you're going to be taxed as a C Corp. But to save on taxes, a lot of people change that default tax status from that C Corp to become that S Corporation. So it's just a tax election that you just have to do the paperwork for to have.
Yeah, already confused.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm kidding.
I should watch your TikTok.
So when would it make sense to, let's say, when does it make sense to S Corp or C Corp into an S Corp? And does it make sense to, what do you think? What makes the most sense, and what industries should or let me ask you this. This is going to be a better question. When should you start looking into being a C Corp?
Well, you will only be a C Corp if you filed as a corporation to start off with.
Right.
But if you didn't file as a corporation to start off with, then you would just filed as an LLC, then you would be taxed. Well, it depends how you're going to be taxed based on how many people you have in your LLC. So if you're a partnership, you're going to be taxed as a partnership. But if you're a single member LLC, you're going to be taxed as a sole proprietor. But to your question you're asking, when does it make sense to basically switch over to a different tax election?
Or when does it make sense if you're going to start a business? Because you want to do it the right way, right?
Right.
So when should you start, or how should you choose between, should I just LLC or should I C Corp?
Yeah. Well, it depends on the type of business you have. Most of our clients, we advise them to be an LLC rather than a corporation, because corporations, it's more for, if you're going to have stocks in the future, or if you're going to have shares, and there's more corporate formalities. You have to do minutes every year. And so the states created this new thing called LLC, where you get the same legal protection, but you don't have to do all the corporate formalities. So we just tell our clients, we'll just be the LLC. You can have that same legal protection and have that LLC.
So what about for tax benefits compared to LLC and a corp?
Yeah, and so for the LLC, you're going to be taxed It depends on how many members you have in your LLC. So if you're just one person and you started your LLC, you're going to be taxed as if you're a sole proprietor. But you can change that and you can be taxed instead as an S Corp, but you have to do the paperwork for that election. And it makes sense to do that once you're making above a certain amount, because to be taxed as an S Corp, you have to pay payroll. And so you have to kind of do the math and see what makes sense for you. And this is something like a CPA will probably run your numbers and see, oh, you can actually save money if you switch over your tax election.
Right.
So there's a lot that goes into it. But
Is it easy to switch?
Yeah, you can always switch to an S Corp at any time.
Can you switch from being an S Corp or C Corp to an LLC?
You can. You would have to amend it to become an LLC or file completely a different.
Like, let's say, for example, someone started a business under S Corp or C Corp, and then they're like, oh my God, I don't have all these employees to do payroll, and I don't want to pay these payroll taxes, and I'm growing a lot slower than I thought I was going to. I just want to switch it to an LLC because it just seems simpler, and I want to pay myself simpler. Do you ever run into a situation like that?
Well, but see, that's the whole thing, is that an LLC is the underlying business entity.
Right.
So the S Corp is just how you're taxed.
But what about a C Corp, though?
The C Corp, you can choose how you're
well,
C Corp is how you're taxed as a corporation by default.
And also with C Corp, you're double taxed. So people usually don't want to be a C Corp because you're taxed on the amount that you make plus the amount that you pay yourself. Right. And people don't want that double taxation. So the S Corp is a pass-through tax election. So a lot of people save money on that.
Right. So that the S Corp makes it so you don't get double taxed.
Yes.
That's why. We're like asking like for real.
Yeah. I figured. Yeah, there's a lot, and this is like all in the tax CPA world. But I mean, it bleeds into business entities, and but as far as how you're structured, a corporation or a LLC, we usually tell our clients that they should be LLCs unless they fall into a certain exception. In California, not everyone can be an LLC. Yeah. Like if you're an attorney or an architect, like you can't have an LLC. You have to have like something. You have to have an LLP or a professional corporation, for example.
We're just asking questions like we're in your TikTok comments.
We'll do a video on this.
So you're an LLP.
Yeah, we're an LLP.
What does that stand for?
Limited Liability Partnership.
Partnership. Got it.
Yeah.
Because I always see it's like every law firm has a different 3 letters at the end of it.
Yeah. Because you can't be an LLC in California if you're an attorney. You can't have one.
Why?
You have to be a professional. There's like if you have like certain professional degrees are not allowed to be LLCs or corporations. They have to be either a limited liability partnership or a professional corporation.
So because you guys are the transaction lawyers, does that mean you guys know all the tips and tricks to save the ultimate amount of money every year?
Everyone has such a different, business structure and numbers, and so it's so different for everyone. So we always tell our clients it's best to talk to their CPA because they run the numbers. We're more like on the legal side where we can tell them legally what's going to be best for them. Yeah.
So when people approach you, is it usually after they've spoken to their CPA and they know what they want, or is it you say you got to go figure out what you want and then come back?
No, they usually come to us first, and then we'll tell them, based on your situation, usually if you're just getting started, then you don't really need to be an S Corp right away. So we'll set up their LLC for them, for example, and then later on down the road, if they want to be taxed as an S Corp, they would go to their CPA for that.
Got it.
So what is the difference between like the benefits of, let's say, using like a LegalZoom or hiring you guys?
Yeah, no, we get this question a lot. Well, first of all, LegalZoom, there's a lot. With LegalZoom, first of all, they're kind of just paper pushers, so you don't even know if they're doing the work correctly. And we've had almost every single day we have people come to us and say, LegalZoom did it incorrectly, or is this correct? And we've had so many clients where we had to change the way the filing was done with LegalZoom because it wasn't done correctly. So that's issue number one, is that it's done incorrectly. The second is when it comes with business formation like LLCs, one step of it is to file it, but there's a ton of stuff that you have to do after to keep your LLC legally compliant. And people don't know that. Business owners don't know that you just filing your LLC is step 1, but there are steps like 2 through 10. So then a lot of people will come to us after, and maybe their LLC is no longer active, or they didn't take the right steps. So then there's all that we have to do with them to make sure that they're legally compliant. So that's step 2.
Yeah, there's no legal strategy involved in it, or there's no, any sort of business consultation that happens. So for example, it's not enough to have just an LLC on paper. Like, just because you have an LLC on paper doesn't mean that now you're all of a sudden magically protected. You have to follow formalities. And one of those things is, for example, you can't commingle your funds. So you have to have a separate business bank account. If you don't know that, then you're commingling funds. And let's say, for example, you get sued, your LLC gets sued, and the person who's suing you can tell the judge, well, look, they're commingling funds, so they're just hiding behind this LLC, but they're treating this like their personal bank account. Therefore, now it's called pierce the corporate veil in the
Right.
legal world, where they can go after now your personal assets. And the whole point and you've been paying for this LLC this whole time, but now it doesn't matter anymore because you weren't following the rules of having
Right.
it. So you need to keep it active.
So what about because I assume that entrepreneurs getting started are going to be commingling funds not on purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, I forgot, I should have put that on a business card or
Yeah.
So like in that type of situation, do you guys help people kind of separate the two so
Yeah,
their
we tell
veil can't
them.
get pierced?
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, we've had so many people come to us after they went to LegalZoom and LegalZoom didn't do their stuff properly that we actually came out with a course, our LLC liftoff course, for this reason, because we knew that people were going to LegalZoom because they thought, okay, it's a lot cheaper. But unfortunately, they're spending so much more in the long run to fix the mistake. So we thought, okay, why don't we come out with a course that literally step by step, we go over with people exactly how to file their LLC, but not just that, how to do all of the work after. So like, for example, in California, after you file your LLC, within 90 days, you have to file something called a statement of information. And now you also have to file a BOI report with FinCEN. So people don't know this, they don't do it, and now they're not compliant, and now they're like going to be penalized, they're going to have all these fees. So our LLC course, we literally go step by step and tell people exactly how to do this, because we want business owners to have all the information, and we understand not everyone can hire an attorney right off the bat. And we don't want to have people mess up their business formation, because that's their foundation for their business. So yeah, that's why we started
amazing.
the course.
Well, the course is for people who don't want to go to LegalZoom and they don't want to go to an attorney because it's expensive.
Yeah.
Right.
Because LegalZoom is expensive, and so is going to an attorney. It's more expensive. So that's why we created this LLC liftoff course. It's for people who have the time to learn how to do it themselves.
Right.
So we're like, this is exactly what to do. This is the website you go on. We walk them step by step,
to
like
file
through video, how to file everything, and everything after filing for their LLC as well. So they're not like, what do I do now? And so it's like a comprehensive, and it's like cheap, like more budget friendly than going to LegalZoom.
Yeah.
So it's like empowering people to do it on their own without filing with these third companies.
I think you guys are geniuses for doing that, honestly. And it's like fine, because it's like now you're able to help a lot more people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, not everyone's going to be able to afford the full service, and creating that entry point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's your DIY, and we're going to tell you exactly how to do it.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
for
You know?
those people who like to DIY. Because we've come across, most people just want someone to do it for them because they have the money and they're like, I don't have the time,
Right.
just do it for me. And that's fine. That's where we come in. But then we realize we're like, there's this whole other group of people who are not getting access to this because they just can't afford it. But they should be able to know how to do it on their own. So let's just create this for them. And it's out there.
What? Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, is the government forgiving at all for, like, let's say you didn't set your business right, or you made a mistake because you didn't know what you were doing, because you didn't take the LLC liftoff course, which you should go buy so you don't run into this
Link
mistake.
below.
So is the government forgiving on new business owners that might have made a mistake on how they filed or set up their entities? Is there like where they give them the ability to fix the problem, or is there like they're like, nope, you made a mistake. I've been waiting for this. We're taxing.
twice.
Yeah, we penalizing the out of you.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't seen what the penalties would be like on our end.
I mean, there's you learn in law school, ignorance is not a defense.
Yeah.
So you should know what you're doing. But at the same time, I mean, courts are so different. It depends on who your case is up against. So it's really just factor dependent. But so we say, instead of putting yourself in that position and trying to find out, why not just get it done correctly right off the bat? Because now you can, right? Now, especially with this course, you don't have to wait to mess up to find out. The information is there.
Yeah.
But tell them about the penalties for FinCEN. This is brand new. There's this new law.
Oh,
That's
no.
crazy.
There's a new law that just came out. It was enforced starting January 1st. And so now you have, after you file your LLC, you have to, within 90 days, file this report called the BOI report. And if you don't file it, you can be fined up to $10,000, $500 a day, and even face jail time. I mean, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
What?
But the report doesn't take a long time to file, and it's relatively easy. And when we also created a course that's super accessible. It's less than $20 to teach people exactly how to file it. Yeah, it's a tutorial. So it's not hard to do, but a lot of people don't know to do it. Because let's say you go to LegalZoom and you say, file my LLC. LegalZoom's not going to say, hey, make sure you have 90 days, file this BOI report. You're kind of just like off on your merry little way. And then you don't know that there's all these other steps you need to take. And then you're going to be hit with these fines, and it's a new law, so we don't know
how strict they're going to be.
Yeah, they're going to be.
I mean, that sounds insane. What type of information is in the BOI report that you're actually giving?
It's easy information. Your business's name, its address. I mean, your social security number. It's not.
Wasn't that in the original filing?
Yeah, but they're trying to fight money laundering crimes, or like money crimes, like money laundering.
It's like a new thing where they want to know the owner of every LLC.
But it's not difficult information. It's like stuff that you could just sit at your computer and say, oh, this is this, and then you need like your driver's license or passport.
Are they trying to penetrate shell companies? Is that what this is about?
They're trying to fight money crimes, so they just want to know who owns companies, especially like the ones that are maybe anonymous.
It's like a two-step verification.
Yeah.
Text you the code, go to
Yeah,
your email,
yeah.
make sure it's you. Da, 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 da.
But then there's like exceptions if you have a very large, I mean, I'm simplifying it, but if you have a very large company, you're exempt. And so in my mind, I'm like, it's not usually the small business owner who's like money laundering. It's usually these big companies. So I don't know.
It sounds like they're just trying to tax the small guy like usual, right?
Well, it has nothing to do with taxes, and it's not going to be public information. So we always tell people, like, I know we have these reservations going into it, like, another thing I have to pay for, but it's free, so just get it done. And it doesn't tax you differently, but
it's free to file.
Well,
Yeah.
by tax, I meant trying to get over on the small guy.
We can talk about this off the record, but
I've read somewhere, I don't know how accurate it was, but also California's not charging. They're trying to incentivize people to start businesses, so they're not charging you if you make less than a certain amount of money a year, you don't have to pay the $800 every year no more. For the first 2 years or something like that.
I think that was I know they did that last year and the year before. I don't think this year they're doing that.
Yeah.
So
they took that away.
Yeah, they took that away.
And they also used to they took away the filing fee before as well, so you didn't have to pay the $75 to file. So they've added that back. I guess during COVID, everybody started businesses, and they're like, we don't need this law anymore.
They're like, damn, we miss out on a lot of cash.
Is there anything about the tax laws that really like bother you, where you're like, man, this seems like unfair and unreasonable?
About tax law?
Well, not tax
or how businesses are
entity,
like taxed and
transactional law.
Yeah, again, we could go off the record. I have so much to say.
I'm trying to get some viral moments right now.
I think it is. It's what we found is that, like, for example, we had someone comment today on one of our videos, and they were like, well, what if you can't afford an attorney? I have a brand and I want to protect my brand, but I can't afford an attorney. And what you're realizing is, like, with everything, for example, if you need to see a doctor, there's insurance. There's always insurance, to see, like, professionals. But with lawyers, there is no insurance. Like, if you don't have the money, how are you going to do these important things that you have to do, for example, like a trademark? And so that's one thing where I just wish that there was more. And we want to create more resources and courses for people who don't have the means, but they still need to take these important steps to protect themselves.
Absolutely.
Like the whole point is accessibility.
Yeah.
But the reality is that every government like website system is extremely archaic and hard and confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they make it like confusing on purpose. Like with certain things, so it's like it requires a professional to be able to do it right. And it's like
Yeah.
guaranteed you're gonna get it sent back wrong
Yeah.
every
Exactly.
time. So, but that's cool that you guys are making the courses. Can I ask, what's the format of your courses? Is it like video, or is it what's the format of them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all videos, and we also really trim the fat. So you're not going to buy the course and then listen to us talk about ourselves. It goes straight to the point. I think
Nice.
everything from starting with what you need before filing until like after, I think is all less than 3 hours.
Yeah.
You can even times 2 the video, but it's all video, and then we have resources. So under each video we have, okay, like literally this is the website that you go to. So you don't have to Google and figure it out. You just click links that we provided, and then we have like cheat sheets. So for example, if you're getting a business bank account, these are the 4 documents, like check mark. Make sure you have all 4 of these when you go.
Yeah.
Or
and-
the contracts that you need. We also provide the contracts because we know with every single business, you need to have contracts, and that's very expensive. But again, if you don't have it,
The contract templates.
yeah, we have contract templates, because if you don't have contracts as a business owner, you're really setting yourself up for tens of thousands of dollars in the long run when things don't go your way. So we
How
also
long have you guys
provide
been in
those too.
business?
2 years.
2
Two and a
years.
half years.
All right, attorneys out there, listen up. Take this as motivation, all right, and inspiration. They've been in business for 2 years. They're already getting all their leads from social media, and they've already done video courses. I mean, you guys have done your thing, for real.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Everything we preach, you guys already do.
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
You guys are on top of it already.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Creating, an additional stream of revenue.
Yeah.
Because then, what you guys are going to be able to do is to like eventually truly scale that side of it on a national basis, international basis even, and you're going to be able to grow that side of your business, just helping people through your digital, your digital products,
Yeah.
while still helping people individually one-on-one.
Yeah.
In
That's
the
the
goal.
office.
That's the goal.
The course you guys took before you guys went into business, did it really teach you all of this? That's how you knew what to do already?
No, it was
No.
more for specifically like trademarking, and then also just setting up the business as far as like getting a website and that kind of stuff. But again, also that was a long time ago too. So at that point, I don't even think TikTok was around.
Yeah.
So a lot has changed in the industry as well. So
Or it was around, but we just didn't. It wasn't as big as it is now.
Yeah.
You still acted fast and jumped right into it.
I don't even think we acted fast. Like with TikTok, I think we were very, very late to the game. But I think that's part of being a business owner is you
Right.
constantly have to keep up with the times and then see what
Yeah.
works and see what doesn't work.
Correct.
Honestly, I see it as kind of like real estate where you're like, oh man, I should have bought, like,
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I see social media. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man, if we had gotten it, and you're always going to.
We say the same thing.
Yeah. So long story short, like you just have to get in now because you're going to look back like in a year and be like, man, if I started last year.
Exactly.
So you just have to like start, and it's not going to be perfect, but
The best time to get in was yesterday.
Yeah,
Always.
exactly.
The second
Yeah.
best time is today.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
But then also having I guess you have that experience, so now you're like, okay, whenever the next platform drops, like we're gonna
Yeah,
jump right
actually,
on
that's a
it.
good point.
And you
Yeah.
can start
Yeah.
repurposing your old content on that one, and then start making new ones.
yeah, that's a good point because I'm sure there's going to be something else.
Right?
How do you guys feel about views? Is it a big deal? Is it not a big deal? Is virality a big deal? Do you need a lot of views to make a lot of money?
no,
we
because-
just need the right person to see it.
Yeah.
It could be, we could have a video flop and I don't care as long as the right person sees it.
Yes.
That's what matters,
Yeah.
even if it's like one client from that video. Because we've had a lot of videos flop and then we've had videos that did go viral, but it wasn't for specifically like any clients. It was just like maybe a fun video, but
So,
So-
when somebody sees one of your TikToks, what's the process that takes place that turns them into a customer? Like, I just saw your video. What are they doing?
We have a link in our bio that you click, and you can easily set up a consult with us. So
Yeah.
it's all very automated, very easy. So you just click it, and then you book the call with us.
Yeah.
that whole link in bio. I hate
Link in
saying
bio.
that.
Yeah.
I hate saying that. I'm like link in bio, and it's just like
But
we need
people
to come
have-
up with a different
Yeah.
like line.
But people have the question sometimes,
That's funny.
and I know, for example, with TikTok, I've heard that if you use the words link in bio, they don't
Suppress
push-
your post.
They
Yeah, they
shadow
don't push
ban
it
you.
out, but then people always okay. Well, then how can we get in contact with you? So I mean, it's not about going viral. It's not about getting views.
There's
I
a
would
place
rather,
that you could click
Yeah.
that's inside of my
Yeah,
biography.
It's,
Yeah, I would rather someone
it's
know.
funny because like we get that question a lot. How do we book a call? So we made a video on how do you book a call. Like recently we're like, click here, do this, you know, because
Exactly.
people don't know. So I'm like, this video, it's not to get a lot of views, but it's just to have out there because maybe someone needs to know.
I also think if you're someone who consumes on these apps, it's a lot easier to understand how people work. So for example, when I like a creator, they don't need to tell me, oh, go to the link in my bio. You're naturally going to gravitate towards their bio. You're going to check out their Instagram. So we kind of know that as well, that even if we don't say link in bio, the right person, if they're ready, if they're starting a business and they're truly ready, and they're serious, they're gonna find a way, you know. And we make it easy, but you don't necessarily have to say link in bio because they're gonna naturally do that. Because I know I would, you know.
It's intuitive.
Yeah.
It's assumed too.
Yeah.
And also it sort of kills your the viewer experience.
Then it becomes a sales.
If every video you listen to is like, oh, click the link in bio. It's like, just sort of want the information and move on to the next video.
Yeah, I think the typical thing that I do is I'll just have the video, and at the end, I always say, if you want to work with us, you can work, or you can work with us if you want, and then always follow if you want more information.
You guys have a tagline?
No.
Yeah, not really.
We don't.
Yeah.
We don't have a tagline. I know.
Yeah, it's not going to be that.
Yeah,
but we'll come up with one.
When you're thinking LLCs, think Imani Law.
Yeah.
When you think money, think Imani.
Yeah. Hey, we should trademark that.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I trademarked my nickname J Pro.
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
Yeah, you got that.
Yeah, I'm the official J Pro now.
That's crazy. Did you have to select a cat? I always ask you this. Is a category?
Yeah, business consultant.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
But I don't know why. I just did it because I wanted to be the official J Pro.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's really anything I could do with the trademark besides
if you
sue
put
people
out-
for using it.
But if you put out, exactly. If you start marketing it heavily, right?
Yeah.
And you put out products and your
Yeah,
information, it's all
exactly.
branded that.
Yeah.
And then someone else is a J Pro, it'll start popping up, right?
Yeah.
Is that usually what takes place?
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
you would send like a cease and desist letter, for
Yeah.
example, if you want them desist, to get them to stop.
And I'm using Imani Law for that.
Yeah. So
sure.
that's like because then you own it. You own the brand name. So
What
it's
if
yours.
someone else? So I'm trademarked in the U.S., but what if someone else in the different countries using it? Then I'm really SOL.
Well, your trademark, because you trademarked with the USPTO, like a federal. So it would only protect you federally. You wouldn't be able to assert your rights globally. Yeah.
What's like the most ridiculous thing someone can trademark? Like, can you just trademark like any phrase? Like,
There's actually a lot of rules around trademarking. So you can't use something that's widely used. You can't do something that's confusingly similar to something someone else has. So there are a lot of rules in place. But as far as being like crazy, people can be crazy with the trademarks that they want. You know,
Yeah.
the world is really your oyster. But there are rules. You know, you can't use something that's merely descriptive, for example. So I think that's where a lot of people run into issues is if they're doing it on their own. They don't realize that you can't just trademark anything, and then they don't realize that it also has to be in certain categories.
right.
So then their trademark gets rejected, and the unfortunate thing is if your trademark gets rejected, then the USPTO doesn't give you your money back. So you have to start, not only do you have to pay again to file, but you also have to restart the entire process.
Aye.
And the entire process is at least 12 to 16 months. It's not
Yeah,
like an LLC where you just file it with the state and then in a week they tell you, okay, you're accepted or not. It's a long time. They're super backlogged.
I remember when I did it a while ago, it was like $300. How much is it now?
Yeah,
The filing fee is $250 or $350 depending on which application you do.
Okay.
So they don't refund you if you do it incorrectly. You have to do it right the first time.
Can you trademark a waveform or like a sound?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, even a color.
You can trademark
Really?
a color?
Yeah.
like Barbie pink is trademarked, Tiffany blue is trademarked, the UPS
Right.
brown is trademarked.
Yeah, yeah. So is it with a color? Is it the actual color itself, and then like the name? Is it like both together?
I think it would be the name of it. Yeah, the name of it and the color.
It could be separate because, for example, Tiffany and Co. When you see that blue, everybody thinks of Tiffany's. Like you don't even have to write Tiffany on it. You'll just be like, oh, that's Tiffany blue, you know,
Right.
or that specific pink that everybody
Barbie.
associates with Barbie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't have to trademark the name with it, but also it's hard. Like if you came and you're like, I want to trademark that white, that's going to be really difficult.
Well, because I think it's easy with colors because they have a code,
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's like, boom, that's my code. As long as no one else has that exact number,
Yeah.
Exactly.
I could trademark it. I think Jay-Z has one.
Oh,
He has
does
this
he?
Jay-Z Blue.
Oh, okay.
He has a song where it's like, my favorite hue is Jay-Z Blue.
Oh, that's cute. I love that.
Come with their own colors.
Right?
Yeah, so I mean it's cool. It's cool to also like when we get on these consults and talk to these clients to hear like their ideas, of their brand names and advise them, because a lot of people, like Camelia was saying, they don't know that you can't trademark something that's descriptive. So we always walk them through like what can be descriptive and what's not. For example, if you have like a pizza restaurant and you call it cheesy pizzas, like that's not gonna get us trademark.
Right.
But if you have a word that's even suggestive, that's a little bit better, like penguin for refrigerators, for example. But what's even better is having something that's like made up, like Kodak.
Right.
Or
Word
like
that
JBL. Now you think
Yeah.
of the speakers, but that has nothing to, like, that's a made up.
So
it's
you-
not describing it, or like Apple.
So
for
that's
example.
what makes it trademarkable.
Yeah, it's like a stronger trademark
It's
because
stronger.
you're not
A
thinking.
non-descriptive term.
Yeah, like Apple for computers. When you think of Apple, when they were going through it's like genius, because it's now you think of computers because now
Right.
it's a brand,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have to do with computers. So you want something that's not descriptive.
So does that mean I can't trademark Apple, the Apple company that makes apples, that produces apples?
Apples.
Like if I make apples,
Okay.
like I wouldn't be able to like,
no.
If you make
I
apples.
can't trademark like Apple, the Apple company, is because it's exactly what my product
Yeah,
is.
because you're an Apple company.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What if I was making oranges and I wanted to call it apple?
Yeah.
They'd be like, all right, I like that.
Yeah.
Oranges.
Yeah. Then that wouldn't be descriptive. So there you
Right.
go.
That's crazy.
Who is your ideal client?
Ideal client, anyone who wants to protect their brand. Really, like people who really care about their brand name, because we
Yeah.
have people who don't really care. They're like, well, whatever, like I'm not that attached to it, or I might think of changing my brand name later on. And in that scenario, I'm like, well, yeah, don't trademark,
Right.
You're not our ideal client. We want someone who's like, this is my brand name, I don't want anyone to steal it, and I'm gonna have this for life, and it's important to me. Yeah.
You guys are still a fairly pretty new company, but you guys are killing it. Very smart. Got a course. What? What are you guys' goals for like the next 5 years?
We have a lot. We're constantly on the phone with each other. Even driving down here, we're like, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? So we
Yes.
have a lot of ideas.
Well, we have a lot of information to share, actually.
Yeah.
That's what it is. We have a lot of intel on certain things. For example, one thing that we have done personally, and we're trying to put it in our content, is travel hacking. Here and there, we're trying to put, because we do that a lot. We travel hack with credit cards all the time, and we're like, we need to, and we share, we even on our personal pages, we've shared before how we do it, and we're like, we need to share more of this because it is relatable. I mean, you're
you
a
tell us?
business.
Yeah, give us a
You're
little.
a business.
I mean, there's so much that goes into it. So actually, the way we've set it up is for example, the LLC course. With an LLC, you should have your own business credit card. You shouldn't be using a personal credit card.
Right.
So with our LLC course, we have a module that we're fine tuning and is going to be out soon. There's an entire module on the best credit cards to get for travel and exactly how to use the points and miles that you get to maximize and get like luxury. It's luxury travel that we're like marketing towards. Of course, you can use it for anything, but I think a lot of people have questions. They always say, oh, like how did you get this business class flight, or like how did you stay at that hotel?
Yeah.
And so when we say we used points, we didn't just pay $10,000 for the seat. They're like, oh my God, how did you do that? So that's like part of what we put in the course, because we're like, hey, it goes hand in hand. You need a business credit card anyway.
Absolutely.
Give us a little sneak peek.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like things that we've personally done that we're like, people need to know. I mean, a lot of people know how to do it, but a lot of people don't. And we're like, we need to just share this information. For example, we went to Italy in September and we flew business class to and from without paying the business class seat
Well,
flight.
All on
you
points?
You
pay
pay
like
the taxes,
yeah.
but you
Right.
don't pay with, I mean, those.
Well, I'm like a math person. I love to play with numbers, and I love to like create
Compare.
these itineraries.
Yeah.
So for example, our Italy trip, cash for both of us would have been around $30,000. But because we used points and miles, I think we each ended up paying like $2,000 out of pocket or something
for
crazy.
like a 10-day trip.
So
Yeah.
how many points do we need? Is 100,000 enough points?
You need more, but that's the whole reason why we want to put this in the course, is that there's strategies that we use to make sure that we have these points.
Right.
Because the other question too is like, okay, well, you're probably spending a lot of money. That's why you have all of these points, but that's not necessarily it. So we go through all of this.
How long did it take you to get the points to go on a $30,000 trip to Italy?
When you open up a credit card, you automatically get sometimes 60. They have like bonus
Yeah.
points. And so, like, for example, with that, it was like, do you remember how many exactly points it was? It was like 60,000 points, right? It was something.
I'd
like
have to
60?
look.
Bonus? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, but it was like, I think we used the points that it would have come with.
Yeah,
plus
I mean, I'm
more.
trying to think of the whole thing. It doesn't take a while, but then, for example, if you have, so like sneak peek, if you have 2 people, it's easier because, for example, I'll tell Carmel, I'll say, okay, get this specific card. And then after like a week or 2, she'll refer me, so she gets referral points, and then so refer each other, and then when I open it, I get points. So then you combine the points together, so I get whatever it is, like let's say 80,000 points, she has 80,000, plus the referral of 20 to 40, whatever it is, you put that together, and now you have a lot of points.
Yeah.
And when you've been in the travel hacking world for a while, you kind of know how much things cost, you know what airlines cost. So I had an idea going into it of exactly what airlines to take or what hotel chains to stay at, or you know what would make sense. So then you can kind of like budget with the points that you have.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to take a long. I mean, some people will open 20 credit cards a year. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
We don't do that, but
And just
you
hit
can.
all those minimums to get the bonus.
Yeah,
To get the
yeah.
bonus.
And then
You can-
combine them all.
Yeah.
That's
Especially if you
It's
have
crazy what you
Chase.
can do.
What do you guys think about that Chase Sapphire?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
like
that's
that
a
card.
Chase Sapphire is pretty
It's a
good.
Is that what we got?
No, we didn't
Whichever
get.
one
We
we
didn't get
got.
the. We didn't get the
Chase-
Sapphire. No.
Chase Sapphire is like what we started out with when we
Yeah.
first started.
Okay, if you're looking for a new card, I will tell you my number one card. It's the card that I use every single day now, is the Capital One Venture X. I
Oh.
think that's
Yeah,
the
that's a good
best
one.
premium. Not excluding the Amex Platinum, I think premium cards, I would say right now the Capital One Venture X is the best.
Why?
Because, well, first of all, it's $395 a year, but you get 300 travel credit back. So now you're only paying like $95 for the card, but you get a 10,000 point bonus for every year that you have it, and then it comes with a law internally. So you get two times the points on every dollar, no matter where you're spending it. And so with a lot of these cards like Chase Sapphire, what happens is they say, oh, you get five times the points for every dollar on this, or three
Specific
times.
things.
But they're specific, yeah. And you're like, well, it's 5 times the points on travel, but like how often are you booking a travel, right?
Right.
With Capital One, it's 2 times the points on anything. Like you could buy coffee and it'll be at least 2. You get 2
Right.
points per dollar.
So you can
Nice.
accumulate a
Yeah.
lot
Yeah, it
quicker.
doubles up fast.
It doubles up faster.
It doubles up a lot faster, and then they have really great transfer partners, which is the best way to use your points. So you don't have to use it in the Capital One portal. You can transfer it out to whoever their transfer partners are, and then get really good deals on flights and mainly flights is what I use it for.
What airline did you guys take when you went to Italy?
We flew there in Turkish and then came back with Virgin.
Okay.
So,
So we got 2 different airline
Right.
experiences.
Yeah.
Not Alaska. Not
Which
Alaska.
one did you like better? Yeah.
Say no to Alaska.
Virgin.
Virgin was better?
Oh, I mean, I
Yeah.
just love everything about Virgin. I don't know if you've ever flown Virgin
It's crazy
Airlines.
on the inside.
It's
Yeah, it's
crazy
crazy.
on the inside. I mean, that's like also, I remember they would come all the time from LA to SF before I think they rebranded to Virgin Atlantic. I don't know what happened, but that was like my favorite plane. It was so nice. It was just, it felt like you were kind of at a club.
Yeah, all the colors.
Yeah.
and stuff,
Purple
So-
and pink.
And I actually positioned us to fly Virgin coming back because it was like a dream flight. The way that it works when you fly out of London is if you're flying what they call upper class, you have your own check-in. So you're not even checking. Yeah, I know it's like very, I was like, I shouldn't be here. But you have your own check-in. Like you don't check in the same
Right.
terminal as everyone else. You
Ooh.
have your own section. You have your own TSA. And then you get escorted. You go to a lounge. And the lounge is like a nice restaurant. It's not like a cramped lounge, and they have everything you can think of. So it was like the coolest pre-flight experience. And then the flight itself was just great.
Yeah.
All this to
Virgin.
say that, we want to show people like if we
Yeah.
if we
Absolutely.
did it with points, you guys can do it too, and here's how. So that's something. So when you asked us, this goes back to the question of what you
Yeah.
asked, which was what do you want to do for this year? What are your goals? It's like that's one of the things that we want to focus on is showing people how to do this too with their
Right.
business.
Because
The
there's
credit
like
attorneys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
credit
there's-
card attorneys.
Yeah.
Credit card attorneys.
there's like rules
The
to
point
it and
attorneys.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. So you know, we're working on that.
You guys doing any affiliates for the course?
Yeah, actually you can. So if somebody has a course and they refer it out to someone else, they get like a referral fee from it.
Oh, cool.
We would just have to set that up. Yeah.
But it's a great way if someone says, oh, I really liked this course, then they have an incentive to send it to someone to sign up, because then we would give a referral to it.
Right.
Yeah.
So what about structurally? Do you guys envision like expanding your team and grow, like hiring a bunch of people, or do you guys envision keeping it just you two forever? Like, what are your
that's
thoughts
a
on
good question, because
Yeah.
that is something we talk about often. We just this year hired a paralegal, so we have her on board, which is really nice. But yeah, I mean, so far, so it's the three of us. But yeah, I mean, we would love to have more people on board. Yeah, we would. I think we need the help.
Let me ask you guys. All right, so what advice would you have for someone coming out of law school? They don't want to do litigation. They don't like the arguing. What type of advice you would give someone who wants to get into transactional law?
We would tell them to do what we're doing. Really, it's just I think trademark law is like it's a unicorn in this whole field, in the sense that you're not tied to your state, because it's federal. So you can work from any state that you want. You know, you just need to be barred in your state, and then you can help out clients all over the U.S., which is great.
Yeah,
I think
that's a huge benefit.
It's a huge benefit. Yeah. So it is special to do that. And also, it's nice to be able to help people and learn about their brands and get excited for them. It's different than, fighting litigation and doing depositions and all of that. And some people love it. It just wasn't our thing. So,
Right.
Well, thank you guys for coming.
Yeah.
Yo, you guys battled death to get here.
Yeah, we really did.
There's San Diego is flooding right now,
Yeah.
and they
flooding.
drove through like 10 crashes, and they still made it. And very
Had to
happy
go
you guys
off
made it.
roading. Get back in.
Yeah.
we had to get in our swimming suits,
Yeah.
swim a little bit.
Maybe use some of those points, get a hotel down here, spend the night, and drive up in the morning.
Right? Yeah.
We totally could.
Yeah.
You guys,
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, last side note was the card that we got had a 100,000 point bonus.
That's good.
I
Yeah.
can't remember what the
That's
card is. I have to get
amazing.
my wallet, but anyways, side
That's
note. Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Well,
That's
it,
you gotta
it also depends on the card, but yeah.
Right.
You got to get in at a good time when they have like the 100,000.
Special,
That's
yeah.
when you get in.
yeah,
Yeah.
I do everything off the credit card, points,
Yes.
cash back.
Yeah.
I pay everything on the card, pay it off every month.
Yeah, it's the best.
Good.
If you're using your debit card, like, what are you even doing with your life?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
like missing out on so much money you could be getting back.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for. You guys want to plug in your?
shout yourselves
shout
out. Where people
yourselves
can
out.
Find you, your
Yeah.
social
course.
links and everything.
Yeah, you can find us everywhere at Imani.law. So that's our Instagram handle, our TikTok handle, and now we're on YouTube as well.
Nice.
So we're all over Imani.law.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys there. Feel free to reach out to us. We're really good about responding to our DMs. So feel free to, slide in, and we're here.
Awesome.
This has been another episode of the Get Louder podcast.
All right, y'all.
We're
See
out.
you next time.
All right.